Hey tankers, and welcome back to World of Tanks with PR154, and we're here today on Steps with Bekatona of the Mard clan in his polished Tier 8 medium premium tank, the CS-52 LIS. I have this tank and it is my worst win rate Tier 8 tank. Don't know if it's just a bad run of luck, like the damage scores are okay, kill counts are okay. I just don't really have the best string of wins with it. But fortunately, we have a pro here with Bekatona. He's really able to make this tank sing in this game. So the things it has going for it, it's got a very strong turret. 7 degrees of gun depression really helps it out. It's 105mm main armament with standard rounds doing 208 with 208mm of penetration and 320 alpha. Now you can change that up to some premium shells for around the 250mm of penetration as well with the APCR, and that's quite reliable. So he's done the initial sort of bold play here on steps. I quite like making this play as well, where you sort of rushing across the water here. This is a bit of a dangerous cross, but once you're into this area, you really start to exert a lot of map control, particularly if the enemy have decided just to bottle themselves up down here in sort of F1 to F2. So you can see he's making excellent use of the bush mechanics. He's rolling forward so that he can spot the enemy, and then rolling back, letting the bush go completely opaque before he fires again. And by doing that, he'll remain concealed, substantially concealed, after firing. So he just rolls forward, lights the enemy, rolls back, and then starts taking shots. He's got a decent... it takes a little while to reload the 105mm gun. It takes you sort of... about 8 seconds, so that's enough time to sort of take a shot, verify that you haven't been spotted for taking the shot, roll forward, spot something, roll back. In this case, he's got the Bekatona C45 that's sort of rolled up to play this ridge here, and that's doing a lot of the spotting of targets for him. So that makes it a lot easier for Bekatona. He doesn't have to risk being spotted on the move, and he can just sort of sit back behind the bush. He's not being seen, and he can just keep that 105mm gun singing and pumping rounds into whatever's sort of behind the corner. We can see the enemy have made a fairly strong play for the cap. They're already on it with the Renegade, but there's at least sort of 6 tanks of Bekatona's team that could sort of push in if need be. So the important thing for the team to do for now is to just try and clear this area out, and then just try to squeeze the enemy into a smaller and smaller space. From this position, he's practically invisible, and he's able to get angles on just about everything. We can see the Lerva is trying to pick an angle, maybe to fire down in this area. The WZ-111G was probably doing the same, although it's possibly wised up to where Bekatona's general location is currently. So a shot from the M4043 sends the tank destroyer back to the garage. That's probably one of the bigger threats to worry about. The Lerva can take another 2 hits from Bekatona at this point in time. He's doing his best to get through him. As you can see, he's only brought 5 gold rounds with him, so he hasn't tried to dip into that. He's still searching, looking for the weak spots in the Lerva and finding them. You can see the T26E4 has sort of rolled in to back up this corner, and Bekatona's able to just look around and get that penetration indicator to light up, where it'll give him some purchase in the armor. I get that the T26E4, it looks like a pretty intimidating beast with all that additional spaced armor welded on the front, but if you take the time to sort of stop and search and look around with your penetration indicator, you will find areas that you can consistently hit to get purchase on those tanks. So the team is starting to break out now. There's a 4-tank element moving to flank the T26E4, looking for a weak spot. Hitting it from the front can often be a bit of a waste of time, particularly if you're on the move. So probably the best course of action was to try and drive past it, knowing that he's got the team with him, and then hit it from its more vulnerable sides. The enemy Leopard PTA is making its retreat. Can we clutch another shot in? Not a kill shot, unfortunately. We do have 320 alpha though, so that was probably a bit of an ask. That we haven't quite sacrificed a big enough goat to RNGesus on this particular occasion. So the enemy is determined to seize this cap. It looks like they've been able to thin out the numbers quite substantially. Remember earlier in the video there were six friendly tanks on Bekatona's team that were in that cap circle. So it looks like they've been able to overwhelm them. So now it's going to be really important for the tanks that sort of went through this sort of water area to move back towards the cap fairly promptly. They've only got a touch over a minute and a half to do that at this point. But of course that's going to be a lot harder to do when you've got a Ferdinand in the way. So once again Bekatona's looking for those shots in between the rail carriages where he can penetrate the Ferdinand. Although when looking at his ammunition situation, it's a little bit dire. He's out of his standard AP shells, and he started off with I think 25. He started off with 5 of the premium shells as well. So we're really dipping into the bottom of the bucket now. And then of course he's got 3 high explosive shells as well. With a T44 and a T28 on the cap, we don't want to take too many chances. You can see the T28 prototype's taken a hit, so putting the shot into the T44 was probably the sensible choice. Just takes that little bit of pressure off the cap. So we're out of the APCR. We're dipping into our last 3 shells, which are all high explosive. Only 2 rounds left. So it's important now to make every shot count, although granted they do have quite a substantial hit point advantage rather. They're in the cleanup phase. Ferdinand is still alive and dueling it out with the Object 7032-122, who's able to knock him out, which just leaves Bekatona and the M41D. 1 shot left, 1 enemy left, and that's the final kill of the game with his last shell. So that's going to be a Fadin's medal for Bekatona. Let's take a look at the results. So a well-deserved mastery badge there for Bekatona of the Mard clan. We'll jump straight to the Fadin's medal. It's one of those very rare medals, very, very circumstantial, in that you basically have to kill the last enemy tank with your last shell. So you've got absolutely nothing left in the tank. The enemy hit point pool has got absolutely nothing left in the tank. It's a very almost ecliptical set of circumstances that needs to happen in order for you to pick up this medal. So I'm sure Bekatona will treasure this one. Having inflicted 6,750 hit points of damage upon the enemy team, of course it's no surprise that he's come away with the high caliber medal. A few other badges of merit here as well. Spotter for just getting that visual assist damage on the enemy, which I suspect was predominantly from working that bush after he'd sort of made that sometimes high risk push across the water of steps, a bruiser for causing damage to internal modules, and the fighter medal for killing at least sort of 4 enemies, and he's hit the upper limit of that, having taken 5 enemy heads. Looking at the team scores, a very well-deserved top placement by experience. On so many different levels as well, not just for the damage to the enemy caused, but taking sort of certain routes throughout the battle to just prioritize the cap, get that cap circle reset, because in that end stage of the game, of course, he only had sort of 2 tank destroyers left on his team that were remotely near that cap, and it was being capped out by at least 2 tanks. So some quick actions there have very much saved the day. So well done to Bekatona. And if you'd like to see one of your rig plays featured on World of Tanks with PR154, please reach out over Discord or any of the links below, and we'll do our best to sort you out. In the meantime, take care out there.